All right, I hope we're live. My virtual studio suddenly gave me this weird option to go vertical, and I had two YouTube streams. Anyways, hope we're good. And better than the Warriors, I think, regardless of how this goes tonight. An utter disaster in OKC. The Golden State Warriors now have a six-game road trip. I'm sorry, a six-game road losing streak, which you should not be proud of. Obviously, I mean, no team should be, but. Folks, I didn't have time to find a good sound effect for blaring sirens, which may represent alarm, concern, just a situation. Okay, good. On YouTube. Just a situation that is scary. It's one of those moments that I think if you're a longtime Warriors fan who has enjoyed this dynasty from the get-go, the moment that you've dreaded. And I think it's time to talk about it after a game like this, and that is the veterans. Are they cooked? Is it over? At least for Steph, Dre, and Jimmy, because a game like tonight makes me think so. I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong, but look, Steph's getting over a cold. Steph was coming down with a cold. Maybe that's why he's been struggling. Maybe that's why he's forcing his shots. Maybe that's why he cannot blow by defenders like he normally does. Maybe that's why he looks like he's forcing every field goal attempt, whether it's a three, whether it's a drive. And hopefully that's why defensively he suddenly looks awful. I mean, Stephen Curry tonight picked up his fifth foul with, I believe, 9 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the third quarter. Because every time he was on defense, folks are just driving by him, or he'd reach for an inexplicable foul, or Steph doesn't look himself. Draymond Green is not an elite defensive player out there. Jimmy Butler, I mean, last night or 2 nights ago, I think that was the second time all season, at least, that I'm aware of that he's dunked a basketball. I mean, I remember Jimmy Butler being this explosive force of a player, and that's the furthest thing from the look he is giving right now. Ranger 49 in our chat saying Father Time is here. God, I hope not. God damn, I hope not. Is that the best way to go for the look for the chat? No. My virtual studio's been messing with me. There we go. Yeah, these are concerning times if you love your Golden State Warriors, especially when you consider the fact that they have a coach who is ill-equipped to handle a situation like this, meaning he is the furthest thing from an individual who has shown competency in terms of playing the right players at the right time. And when the stars who have carried Steve Kerr for his entire coaching career are no longer them, which is what I'm starting to really dread here, what good is he? Like nothing. He doesn't coach. He doesn't mentor. He doesn't nurture. He doesn't advise. He just sits in his ivory tower and barks orders. That's what he does. And then you have a huge part of the fan base going, dude, why are you such an asshole? Like, why are you such a hater? It's like, yeah, okay. So if you want to fake it, there's countless other shows out there who will give you like the rainbows and the cuddly stuffed bears that you want to have your world be surrounded by, and just delude yourself from reality. Again, every other show out there is doing that. And I really love to keep it real with you in a positive manner. I love nothing more than that. But the Warriors are now a 500 team. Their best players look old. They have an incompetent head coach. And yeah, these are troubling times for the Golden State Warriors. Do I have like a good sound effect for like just panic and concern? Let me see what my array. I have a boo. No, that my boo's already there. Already queued up. Maybe a siren, a train whistle. Does a siren represent concern? We could be hearing a sirens blaring if we suddenly were surrounded with like a nuclear catastrophe. I think that's a decent one. Yeah, we're in trouble, folks. Yeah, you also hear some screaming. Things were if we were in a real life emergency. Oh, and apparently, like the Instagram feed is all screwed up. Yeah, my new our virtual studio has not been at the level of excellence I'm accustomed to. At least no one's complaining about a glitchy feed. Let's talk about tonight's game, which could represent a sign of things to come, or it could just be a blip. And the Warriors can go into San Antonio tomorrow night, beat Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, and this will all be a faded memory. But here is first and foremost why this game, this annihilation by OKC, this was over the moment the Golden State Warriors started making substitutions at about the 5-minute mark, 5-minute 30-second mark of the first quarter. They were actually holding their own for about half a quarter to start this game. And then, of course, Steve Kerr's substitutions got involved. And naturally, the moment they got involved, they just all started cascading downhill for the Warriors. And they get their asses kicked when all is said and done. The final score in this one, 126-102, but they were losing by well over 30 when Steve Kerr brought in the garbage time players. Side note, Guy Santos should not be a garbage time player. I did hear Bob Fitzgerald praising his speed, his energy. It's like, yeah, no shit, Fitz. What do you think I've been saying for since the start of the season? Play this kid. But Steve Kerr won't. Steve Kerr thinks Buddy Hield deserves more minutes. Steve Kerr thinks, Trace Jackson Davis didn't look good tonight either. I don't think Quentin Post was all that effectual. The box score will look okay for him, but he's slow. He's plodding. He's inconsistent with that 3-point shot. We're in trouble. Let's commiserate together. Or maybe you're optimistic. I don't know. Maybe you feel good about things and you think I'm overreacting. Tell me that. Let's have fun together. If this can be fun. This program is powered by FanDuel. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. All right. Again, forgive me. I'm gonna have to disconnect the Instagram feed because it looks like shit. Sorry, Instagrammers. No feed on your channel tonight, or maybe I can do it again here. No Instagram tonight. Sorry. But we're on YouTube. That's our home base. If you're listening to the recording of this, you're on a podcast platform. Thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. And we are powered by FanDuel. Let's go. Welcome to the Golden Days. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. I am your host for the evening. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at Surf Journalist. The program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. And speaking of FanDuel, our official sports book, not just for this show, but for the entire network, Believe, spelled BLEAV. Yeah, it's right down there. FanDuel already has the line for tomorrow's Warriors Spurs game. And the line is, at least for me, surprisingly small. The Spurs are only favored by 4.5 points. So if you feel good about the Warriors, I would place money on the money line plus 158. So even though they're just plus 4.5 underdogs, the money line is plus 158. That is an imbalance. Take advantage of that while it lasts. Courtesy of FanDuel, the OU for that game, 228.5. I feel like the over is a relatively safe bet on that one. Again, courtesy of the official sports book of Golden Days FanDuel. Sincerest thanks to them for helping support this program financially. But I got to start tonight's show with Steph Curry, who, again, best case scenario, if, and thank you everyone in the chat. I thank you for the positive words. It isn't just tonight's game where Stephen Curry has not looked great. Now, I don't know when he started coming down with the cold. Again, it was immediately following. Was it the Suns game? Yeah, I think it was the Suns game where at the after the game he was coughing up like lung butter and he's like, he's all snotty. He was sick. And but even in that Suns game and you go back to the Bucks game, you go back to the Pacers game, you go back in the schedule of this team, and it's been consistent all year in terms of his performance. And yes, True Mentality, who's asking, doesn't it drive you crazy to have a show and it is crazy that Pajemski keeps getting these minutes? Yeah, of course it does. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. But I got to start with Steph because if this is the downfall of Steph, if we're officially starting to see the peak in history, and we're now going to witness this, oh boy, and that's going to raise a whole bunch of other questions. If anything, I'm intrigued to see how the other media channels are going to handle this because I don't think they know what to do. Yeah, those sirens are blaring because Wardell is starting to maybe. I'm not going to say these things definitively. I'm not going to say these things confidently because I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a empath or a telepath or a what do you call those people that have like the crystal ball in front of them? I'm just not one of those people, if they even exist in real life. But Steph, the stat line tonight, he played 19 minutes, 59 seconds. He got taken out little ways into the third quarter, soon after he picked up that fifth foul. And again, those fouls were representative of him simply not being able to keep up with OKC. And again, maybe we need optimism from folks like Kaikio in the chat saying, man, Steph was hella sick. I hope that's why. And again, it begs the question, though. Was he sick in Milwaukee? Was he sick in Indiana? I mean, there were even games before that he just didn't really look himself. What concerns me the most about Steph, I'll read to you a stat line first and foremost. This is actually the first time I'm taking a good look at the box score. Oh, my God. And Steph in those 19 minutes, 59 seconds, 4 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. It's the forcing up of shots that worries me. Like Stephen Curry is someone who follows a rhythm of the game. And it's not just that he follows the rhythm, meaning he knows exactly to a split second when to make a pass, when to put up a shot, when to pull back from shooting and maybe slow things down, when to pick up the pace of a game. He was the pace setter for nearly his entire career. Other teams, other defenders, players, like they were the ones chasing him. They were the ones who couldn't keep up with him. And what really worries me is that he's no longer setting the tempo of a game. And again, I was noticing this before the cold. I also don't know if a cold has ever affected Steph like this before. I mean, I can understand a cold like making you a little sluggish, but the fact that he's forcing these shots up, and really Dash in is writing in the chat that Curry's forcing these shots because there are no other reliable scorers at the moment. But this isn't the first time he's had a roster like this. And side note, he does have other reliable scorers. Jimmy Butler is out there with him. Kuminga's out there with him. I don't understand why Buddy Hield is still getting minutes. I have no understanding of that other than Steve Kerr again is Steve Kerr. He's just utterly obtuse when it comes to rotational decisions and as a person in general. But he has other options out there. You see other players kicking it out to even Quentin Post, who's sharing minutes with Stephen Curry in tonight's game. But there are a lot of possessions where he's coming up and he's not playing with the flow of the game. Like he'll pull up and just again rush a shot, and those shots aren't looking good either. Like you're not seeing that typical flick of the wrist. Like you're seeing more arm in terms of the mechanics. When he attacks the paint, he's not beating his defender. Like the defender's staying right by him, right next to him, bodying him up, making him feel uncomfortable. It's very concerning. And I mean, look, I'm already livid enough at Steve Kerr for making me criticize GP2 because as a person, GP2 is awesome. I want to revere the 2022 role, but he keeps playing him. I mean, tonight is an exception to that. Those GP2 minutes were pretty much all in garbage time, but I don't take pleasure in this. This is a very unhappy version of your host because Steph is everything. If Steph goes, you implode this whole damn thing and start over from scratch. Maybe you keep a few pieces, but I mean, if you talk about a huge earthquake rocking this organization, this franchise, the fan base, everything. Yeah, it's panic time. Yeah, people are I already see a line out there. There's people running to the grocery store. Like the last major panic we had, what was it, the pandemic? What was the first thing that sold out? Toilet paper? Yeah, look, I already see some neighbors coming back. Shame on you for buying all the toilet paper. This is concerning. And the rest of Steph's box score tonight did have 3 free throw attempts, made two of them. I don't remember a missed free throw from Steph. He had a missed free throw? How did I miss that? I was watching this game closely the first 3 quarters. Yeah, he had a missed free throw on top of everything else. He was 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Again, picked up that 5th foul with 9:41 remaining in the third quarter. Second to last in net rating with a -23. Only Moses Moody was worse. And again, a clear example of net rating meaning jack shit because this game was not Moses Moody's fault. Did you see that block he made, by the way, on Alex Caruso? Where did my chat go? Where did my chat just vanish on me? Oh, there you're back. Man, that was a manster block, meaning a half man, half monster. Actually grabbed the ball in the air, and Alex Caruso would not let go, so it looked like a hard, flagrant foul that was clean. Because Caruso was like, I'm not going to let go of this. I'm a try hard. And so because Moody just grabbed the ball and cleanly, Caruso just totally flails and hits the ground. And then there's this. Well, let me finish up the Steph box score, and then we'll talk about this comment right here from Paco Liz 515 saying Chet Holmgren cooked Draymond Green. Chet Holmgren cooked everybody. The Warriors had no answer for him. Side note, they had no answer for him last year, in case you forgot. And this adds to the concern with OKC because everyone, like the broadcasters, all the folks trying to put a positive spin on this, were like, it's OKC. They're the defending champs. They're unbelievable. Never mind that they were missing numerous players due to injury tonight. First and foremost, Jalen Williams. But you just kept hearing this like rhetoric from all the local media, the Kerr sycophants, like, dude, it's OKC. We're not going to panic. They're the best team in the NBA. They won 2 out of 3 last year against this team. And for about 6 minutes, they actually were keeping up with them, maybe even playing slightly better than them. I want to take a look at the play-by-play right here real quick because my memory of this game included the Warriors actually doing okay for about 6 minutes and change. Here's my play-by-play. In the first quarter, the Warriors were I'm looking for all the mass substitutions because that's when it all started to go to shit for Golden State tonight. Hold on. What am I doing here? So am I looking at the right quarter? Yeah, first quarter. Here we go. So, and Steph made that 3 early on, which actually looked pretty good. And then he never made a three again. So the 7:33 mark, the Warriors trailed 15-11. Brandon Pajemski comes in for Jimmy Butler. Why that happened, I don't know, but it did. And the Warriors were still fighting at that point. The score in this game was, before it started just kind of getting away from Golden State, the score was 28-25. The Warriors trailed by 3. And then the second unit for Golden State just started to collapse. The Warriors actually were in this. Oh, that's right. Oh my God. If you didn't watch this game, the end of the first quarter was an absolute disaster. Moses Moody, if I remember correctly, commits a foul. I'm sorry, no, Stephen Curry committed the foul on a 3-point attempt, I think by Isaiah Joe. Shortly before that, Moses Moody puts up a 3 that doesn't count because it doesn't beat the shot clock. Very next possession, Steph fouls a 3-point shooter. So the Warriors were actually in this until almost the end of the first quarter. But that sequence happened, although they started kind of losing a grip on this game before that. But that one sequence, and if I can read it to you from the play-by-play box, play-by-play stat sheet, just to give you an idea of the sequences there. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors commit a shot clock turnover, and that was Moses Moody again having a 3 wiped out. The score would have been 31-28. Then Stephen Curry gets called for a flagrant foul on a 3-point attempt, meaning OKC gets the ball or gets 3 free throws and the ball. So it went from a potential 31-28 game. Instead, the first quarter ends 34-25, and the Warriors never recovered from that. It started slipping away from them even before then a little bit, but at least they had some fight still. But that sequence, and again, what are you going to do if you're Moses Moody? You did your best, but for Steph to commit that foul, that was brutal. By the way, Tommy 4625 in our chat dropping $5 saying, I think last season was the Warriors' best shot at title number 5, but injuries to Steph and Butler in the playoffs ended those hopes. You're absolutely right. It didn't help that again that Kuminga was DNP'd at the end of the season instead of being a part of the rotation. So he wasn't rusty to begin with, and you didn't have to play Stephen Curry like 43 minutes in that game 7 or 44, 45, whatever it was. Don't pretend that didn't play a part in his hamstring pretty much popping eventually. And Tommy 4625 adding, this year they look old. That's dreaded shit, man. You know, Armando Lore and I, we had been joking about that nightmare scenario this offseason. And then the last Friday's show, we really started to tackle it in terms of like just what happens if this scenario emerges. And we're going to play some sound a little bit. I saw Steve Kerr already hit the podium, but I now see Draymond Green, and I'm very curious to hear what Dre is going to say about this. The moment the sound is public. We already got some sound bites. This one, so why don't we get to that right away? But Tommy, thank you for the $5 donation. We'll play the soundbite from Draymond Green, and then we'll talk about Draymond Green because he also looked bad. Draymond finished this game tonight, 21 minutes, 55 seconds. It's kind of crazy that he leads the team in 3-point shooting this year so far. 12 games in, the Warriors are now 500, 6-6 record. But Draymond, 1 of 3 from deep. 4 assists, just 2 rebounds in this game, 3 turnovers. Oh my God, there's a lot to break down here. Like the turnover thing, for example, the Warriors finished this game with 21 turnovers, 20 of those individual. I think shot clock violations don't count as an individual turnover, I think. Don't quote me on that one, but 21 turnovers, again, 20 individual. Trayce Jackson-Davis with 6 turnovers? Do you folks remember 6 turnovers from Trayce Jackson-Davis? I remember Kuminga's 5. A couple of those I wouldn't put on him. A couple of those I'd put on OKC's defense. Kuminga not great tonight. I don't think he was bad either. He's just he was at least hustling. He incredibly led the team in scoring. But let's hear from Draymond Green, who did not have a good night. This is courtesy of Anthony Slater. I'm guessing all these sound bites will be courtesy of not just the individual posting it, but their cell phone audio. So please turn the volume up to listen to these. And here is Draymond Green talking to Anthony Slater, I think. He was talking to somebody. Anthony Slater posted this immediately after the Golden State Warriors got crushed tonight in OKC. Final score 126-102. The Warriors lost this game by 24, but they entered the fourth quarter down 35. The Warriors actually made up 11 points in that final quarter, so the final score was not as bad as the game really was. It's not indicative of the reality of this game. Again, 24 points is still a bad loss. Here is Draymond Green talking about what went wrong, and again, I'm very curious to hear what he has to say here.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you ended last season once Jimmy got here and what's going on right now?
I think everybody was committed to winning and doing that any way possible. And right now, it doesn't feel that way.
I mean, is it personal agenda type stuff, or like, hey, I guess how would you kind of?
I think everyone has a personal agenda in this league, but you have to make the personal agenda work in the team confines. And if it doesn't work, then you kind of got to get rid of your agenda, or eventually the agenda is the cause of someone getting rid of you. And so, I think you don't want a team with no personal agendas, because a goal is an agenda, and so you gotta have some type of personal agenda. But like I say, you got your personal agenda must fit into the confines of the team.
Where does that dynamic show up on the court?
What do you mean?
Like the lack of commitment to winning.
Getting your ass kicked by 30 shows up fast. So, yeah, it shows up really fast when you get whooped like we got whooped tonight. So, yeah. Sorry.
I'm going to play the beginning of this again because that agenda talk was weird. I don't, if you don't mind, I'm going to play the beginning one more time because I'm curious to know who even brought up agendas.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you ended last season once Jimmy got here and what's going on right now?
I think everybody was committed to winning and doing that any way possible. And right now, it doesn't feel that way.
I mean, is it personal agenda type stuff, or like, hey, I guess how would you kind of?
I think everyone has a personal agenda.
All right, so Slater brought up the agenda thing. What Draymond said there, I'm just going to play the beginning one more time. Forgive me for this, but I think what Draymond was saying there, he was asked what the difference was between last year and this year. And what he's insinuating is that this year, not everyone cares about winning. Is that what he was trying to say?
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you ended last season once Jimmy got here and what's going on right now?
I think everybody was committed to winning and doing that any way possible. And right now, it doesn't feel that way.
It does, huh? And then Slater jumps in there and brings up agendas. That was random. Like what? I don't know. Like Dre said nothing about agendas. I don't know why he asked about agendas. But Draymond Green kind of played into that. Oh boy. I don't know what that means. I'm sure people are going to break that down. I mean, look, if you're looking at this, if you're thinking about this in terms of what he just said there, I got to hear that one more time, man. I got it. But forgive me for this audience. I know you're probably getting tired of hearing Dre, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but that was kind of crazy. And I don't know if he's just talking off the cuff, and then Slater tried to make it worse. Difference between last year and this year, not everyone's committed.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you ended last season once Jimmy got here and what's going on right now?
I think everybody was committed to winning and doing that any way possible. And right now, it doesn't feel that way.
And see, this is where Slater, he should have followed up and said, "How so?" But he tried to spin it into being like a personal agenda thing. I mean, I don't know who he's talking about there. That is weird. And look, I'm okay. Let's take a look at this box score one more time, real fast, because if you're listening to this in the podcast, Draymond is saying this as he's like closely studying the box score, and here's what the box score tells you. Let's start with net rating, and again, net rating, a very flawed statistic. What I look at it for is seeing which combinations are working and not working. You kind of get a hint of that. And here, I'll share even the box score I'm looking at right now so the audience can see this as well. Certain units of players collectively were awful. And net rating, a case in point, like Kuminga -20, Draymond -21, Jimmy Butler -15, Stephen Curry -23, Brandon Pajemski -21, Moses Moody -25. Like what I'm taking from that, those numbers there is the game got lost because those 6 players were on the court when OKC was pulling away, right? And I'm not going to sit here and blame any individual per se for the why of that, but those were the players responsible for this loss. Like they were on the court for the bulk of the minutes. Now, like, is he talking about Quinn Post? No. Is he talking about Jonathan Kuminga? I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to make that accusation about Jonathan Kuminga not being committed to winning, like I would have resorted to last year if I'm going to lob that accusation to him. Like I would have thought last year's version of Kuminga was the one that was not bought in, and through no fault of his own, is because his coach phased him out. But Dre's always had Kuminga's back, which is why I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. Corbs 499 saying some of the biggest issues with this team is our 3-point shooters. They cannot hit open threes. Absolutely right. The shooting itself is abysmal. Quentin Post, Brandon Pajemski, and Buddy Hield are basically unplayable this season. Agree on that front as well. Again, Guy Santos deserves minutes. Will Richard, I believe, actually got first quarter minutes tonight, but he was still like the 10th or 11th man off the bench. The why of that? Ask Steve Kerr, and we'll play some sound from him in a second. Will Richard, he is like tonight, for example. I love this kid. Like the Warriors might have, and it's very early to jump to this conclusion. So forgive me for sounding a little hyperbolic here, but so far it really does look like they struck gold with this kid as a second round draft pick. And Will Richard played 22 minutes and 1 second tonight, and we did not see him enter this game until. Here, I'll find it right here. If he did come in the first quarter, he did. So he came into the game with 1:53 remaining in the opening quarter of this game, and he came in for Buddy Hield. And the Warriors were trailing 26-23 at that point. Buddy Hield is a black hole on this team, but I also know that he's very likable, so I can't imagine that's who he's referencing. Jimmy Butler. I mean, it looks like Dre and Jimmy have a good relationship. Like it's again, Anthony Slater was trying to bait him there with that agenda, a variable thrown in. I don't know why Anthony Slater went there, but it's not like Dre shut it down. He started talking about how everybody has agendas, but that, sometimes the agendas when they're not including the team as a focus of the agenda, that's where it starts going wrong. So the question then becomes, okay, who on this team is not keeping the team in mind with their agenda? Who's he referring to? Is it Jimmy Butler? It sure as shit is not going to be Stephen Curry. Is it Brandon Podziemski? I mean, the only time I ever heard him say anything positive about Pods was when he was asked some weeks ago about the Lowry Markkanen trade, and he didn't even really reference Podziemski by name, I don't think. Side note, Desiree, I don't know why you're mentioning true shooting, one of the most irrelevant stats on the planet, largely because, again, it's a formula that factors free throw shooting into it. It's like I why not just focus on 3-point field goal, like separate them if you want to have a more accurate context. Blue Jay in the chat saying it's Podziemski. Moving, I mean, look, Podziemski did not have a good night tonight. I mean, this is someone who, and a friendly reminder, the only argument I ever hear for this guy, at least on social media, not as much here on this program, but again, all of the Steve Kerr sycophants are typically afraid to, out themselves publicly or have interpersonal discourse with me about him because the evidence does not back up the minutes. But Podziemski tonight he had 10 points, 4 rebounds. The one stat that I constantly look at and wonder, why is he failing miserably in this department? Assists. He only had 1. The connector with just 1 assist in this game. To put it in perspective for you, Jonathan Kuminga had 4 assists. Draymond Green had 4 assists. Quentin Post somehow had more assists than Brandon Podziemski with 2. Jimmy Butler had more assists with 2. Stephen Curry had 0 assists. That's not a good look either, because again, with Steph, it's pretty obvious. He was trying to force everything tonight. Stephen Curry, God damn, I hate talking about him in this negative way. I got to check myself a lot here. I don't want to. If this ship's going to go down, and it's because Steph's regressing, let the ship go down. I'm not going to pile up on Steph, but I will say this. When a player of his stature, a superstar of Steph's stature, starts to physically lose it, meaning all of a sudden, and this is again why I keep saying, like a player like Steph, I can't envision aging gracefully the way LeBron or even a Kevin Durant would, because those two players are huge. Their size alone is going to buy them years, and it's going to buy them advantages with height. Steph doesn't have that advantage. One of Steph's biggest physical advantages is speed. And that's also going to be one of the first things that goes when you start aging, and the physical toll of aging starts hitting you. And what Steph looks like here is someone who is noticing the explosiveness is not having the same impact it's had his entire career. And so he's starting to force things. What I'm seeing is someone who's frustrated by father time potentially catching up to him. And so he's trying to make up for that by thinking, I have the touch, right? You've got the power, right? Sorry. But he looks like a guy forcing things. 0 assists for Stephen Curry. Buddy Hield had 4 assists tonight. GP2 had 3 assists tonight. Why can't Podziemski get assists? He had 1. Make that make sense. Barry Baller, I really hope you're right, dude, that you're saying he's really sick. But again, the sick thing, does that explain the early season eye test stuff and even not even eye test measurables? G4M is saying speed has nothing to do with the shooting, but it has something to do with the space that he typically creates for himself. And the shot itself doesn't look good. I mean, this is not the first cold Stephen Curry has had. Yeah, Tommy Boogie Nights. I'm going to find that clip. I'm going to play it tonight. You've got the touch. But I can't do the keyboard. I gotta evoke some Mark Wahlberg from was that the 90s when that movie came out, or early 2000s? You got the power. Let's get some Dirk Diggler in the mix. I need some levity. I need a little levity to break things up. All right, let's get to the song. Here it is. Oh, hold on. Let's get some more. Sorry about that. All right, let's go back to that. What were we even talking about? Oh, yeah. So who does Draymond Green think is not buying in? Because damn, that was a bombshell he dropped there. That was a crazy soundbite. And I got to go through the names now. Like, is it Buddy Hield again, who's very likable? Just finishing up on Podziemski's stats here: 10 points, 4 boards, 1 assist. Did actually make his 3-pointers tonight, which is probably why Desiree was bringing up the true shooting, because for once you could actually brag about Podziemski's shooting in a game they got their asses kicked in. But yeah, the Podziemski minutes make no sense. I don't get it. I don't think it's Trace Jackson Davis. I don't think it's GP2. I mean, Will Richard, the rookie. I mean, I just can't picture Draymond Green like putting the impetus of a Warriors loss like this on the Rook. Fascinating. I hope that's true. That's best case scenario for what Draymond Green's talking about. And Draymond Green is normally very media savvy. That's bizarre. That's bizarre that he went there. And again, this is why I'm freaking out a little bit about this aging team. Steph, you see it physically. Draymond, you see it. Now we just witnessed a mental error on Draymond's part. Draymond normally knows what to say. G Forum's asking, what are the numbers of opponents shooting threes over pods? I'll try to get to that tonight. It's a good question. No, it's not going to reflect this game if I pull it up. The defensive matchup numbers are a day old. Tomorrow, I will have that for you. I promise you that. A lot of people are saying, like Frank Morello saying, it's obviously pods. I don't know. Best case scenario, it's either Kerr or Podziemski. I don't want him calling out the most talented people, because then you got like real serious issues that are potentially not fixable. Yeah, KKS in the chat is saying everybody talks to Kuminga on the bench. I actually posted a clip, which was a silver lining, a sliver of hope, if you will. This clip was from the game, and it was DeAnthony Melton, who joined the team on the road trip, having this long conversation with Jonathan Kuminga, covering his mouth for at least half of it. So what's that one account that's mysteriously, I have no idea how they do it. I don't know if they're just making shit up as they go, but there's that one account that their entire modus operatus is lip reading, getting sound from the court to figure out what players are saying when they're talking shit. Yeah, Real Elise adding to that, saying Melton and Kuminga were talking for a while. And I don't know if like Melton was giving advice. I don't know if they were just shooting the shit, but it was interesting. And it gave me hope because, again, the Warriors have DeAnthony Melton. He is going to be a positive when he comes back. I still don't know where Seth Curry is. Danny Emmerman reported the SF Standard that today was the first day the Warriors could technically sign him. They're like and stay under the cap. But as I reported here last week, I also had a source inside Chase Center tell me that the Warriors are not in a rush to sign Seth Curry. It might not be until December, and even worse, that he likely won't have a serious role with the team, that he's going to have a Giannis Antetokounmpo type role, just being Steph's like confidant and compatriot and friend and brother. I when you really need him, you actually need Seth Curry on this team. I mean, I look at the roster and who gets minutes. I take Seth over Podziemski. I take Seth over Quinton Post. I don't care if he's 6'2.5", 6'3" with shoes on. And Quinton Post is 7 feet. Quinton Post is slow, inconsistent. I'm losing faith in Post, man. I'd rather have Seth Curry than Buddy. I'd rather have Seth Curry than Trace Jackson Davis. I'd rather have Seth Curry than GP2. I'd rather have Seth Curry than Pat Spencer. Like, I don't know what's going on there, man. I do not know what's going on there. Desiree saying it's crazy that I said Seth over Quinn Post. But again, like, is Quinn Post getting defensive stops? Like, you want bigs in this game to board, play defense, get easy buckets. And if you're lucky to have a stretch big, all the better. The only perk I'm seeing from Quinn Post is that he's a stretch big. That's it. So I'd rather have Seth, who's at least going to make his threes consistently. Side note, Seth Curry last year made, I believe, 45% of his three-point shots. Seth Curry is one of those guys that for all of you detractors, all of you cynics, you just have to see it before once again you go, oh, Sai, you were right. And then I'm going to have to play this clip, which is a really funny clip.
How do you tell somebody that you care about deeply, I told you so?
Seth can play. All right. For everybody who thinks he's a liability defensively, he's doesn't have good ball handling. Those are the primary two criticisms I've heard of Seth Curry. I call bullshit on the defense. I call bullshit on the ball handling. Dude can play. Who's our player of the game from this nightmare? Is it Moses Moody just for that insane block, even though he was a team worst in net rating and scored 10 points? But then again, to give you some perspective on how bad of a night this was, the leading scorer for the Golden State Warriors was Jonathan Kuminga, who scored 13 points. Kuminga finished with, again, 13, 6 of 9 shooting from the field, did not take a single three-point attempt. So all of his haters can't bring that up. The refs are starting to give Kuminga the Stephen Curry treatment, meaning for whatever reason, all the whistles that were being blown in previous years when Kuminga would attack are not being blown this year. And maybe some of those are just clean and Kuminga needs to adapt. But he was 6 of 9 from the field, 13 points, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 boards, 4 assists, 1 block, and that block was savage, 5 turnovers. And nearly all of those turnovers were either playmaking and it was a steal. 1 or 2 of those, he was trying to set up his teammates with passes. You're just a flat out Kuminga hater if this loss is if you're putting this loss on him. Moses Moody, meanwhile, played 20 minutes and 6 seconds. He also shot, he shot 50% from the field. He was 2 of 4 from deep. Should have been 3 of 5. I can't believe he missed the shot clock at the end of the first quarter there. Was also a perfect 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 steal, 1 block. I'm going to leave it to the audience. Like, just give me names. Who's our player of the game, courtesy of FanDuel? If anyone cares. If anyone cares. Let's hear from I'll give it a second, see if you folks actually have a name who you think deserves a player of the game honors. I always make a social media clip accompanying that. And in the meantime, let's hear from Sam Gordon, who posted this clip. Not hear from Sam Gordon, I'm sorry. Let's hear from Steve Kerr. Sam Gordon posting this clip. And Kerr apparently is going to address the 12 first half turnovers from this game, adding that most of them were not forced. Yeah, and you have this opinion, which might be the most prevalent. Bamboo Soldier, bless up. Nice handle. Saying the Warriors are not worthy of one. Julian Bashir saying Kuminga was the best player. All right, so Kuminga has 1 vote. 2 votes for Kuminga for a player of the game. Real Elise adding that Steve Kerr is the dark cloud. Again, I had to remind Aaron Turner of this at the end of the show we did yesterday. Side note that I hope you folks enjoyed that. Aaron's a really good dude. That's a relationship I'm stoked to be building. But I told Aaron at the end of the interview, because he is shocked at the vitriol from the fan base. He was unaware of it until because he's not on social media a lot, right? And if you don't use Twitter, you might be completely oblivious. It also might just be a Twitter thing, and I know I see some people on threads bringing some illogical, unnecessary hate on Kuminga, but it's primarily a Twitter thing. And Aaron Turner just was oblivious because he's not on there. And then this summer during the contract negotiations, one day he went and checked out his Twitter account that he apparently hadn't opened in ages, and he starts seeing all the rhetoric, and he couldn't believe it. And that's the whole reason why you know about him now, because he's out there trying to defend his guy. But I told Aaron at the end of the interview, though, regarding the fan treatment of Kuminga, it's like, don't forget this. And it is very important that Bay Area athletes, it does take a long time for them to be fully embraced by this culture, this geography. Case in point, I mean, fans were literally booing Joe Lacob at Chris Mullin's retirement night because he had the audacity of trading Monte Ellis instead of Stephen Curry. I guarantee none of those people would admit it today, but you had a lot of fans who were over Steph and would have preferred keeping Monte Ellis to Steph. And I even went way back in time to the 90s, because there were a couple of incidents there, one being the Chris Webber and Don Nelson. You had a lot of fans, not a lot. Actually, I felt like the fans at that time were pretty safely unanimous in terms of like, what are you doing getting rid of Chris Webber and all that. And then Nelly did lose his job the first time as a result of that fiasco. But the Steve Young thing was another one that I think is very valid. Like Steve Young, it took him years to earn the good graces and the support of the Bay Area as the Niners quarterback. It really, and that's what, and Aaron Turner shocked me in remembering the one game of that 94 season when we all, and when I say we, I mean we, like Niner fans, all suddenly, I liked Steve Young, but even I was a little skeptical early on. Like the year Steve Young missed the final 5 or 6 games of the season in 90 or 91, I think it was because of a shoulder injury. Steve Bono comes in. The team was 4-6 at that point. Steve Bono racks up 6 straight wins. The Niners end up 10-6, continuing a streak of, I think, 18 straight seasons where they won 10 or more games. They didn't make the playoffs that year, incredibly. That's how deep the NFC was. Point is, people were rooting for Steve Bono to have him take over for Steve Young. And you had a front office that was smart enough to go, no. And then in that 94 season, when Steve Young erupted because George Seifert took him out of a game against the Eagles that they were getting their asses kicked in, and Steve Young went livid on the sideline because he wanted to go down with his team, whereas George Seifert yanked him early because he didn't want to get him hurt or anything like that. And that was the first time that the fans saw Steve Young as human and as someone who actually cares about winning and playing and being out there. And again, to be a pro athlete in the Bay Area and be universally adored, it takes a lot. And in Kuminga's case, it might take leading this Warriors team to a championship. I don't know. But and I think Aaron felt a little better about that. I hope the memo in our chat is being facetious. I'm not going to go deep into this. This feels like a gaslight. Asking, how am I blaming the vets for this loss? I'm sure the chat can happily get into that. I mean, do you need the box score? Do you need to understand how important the vets are to this team? Like, if the vets are playing and the team loses, it always starts with them. Like they are everything to this team. That is an asinine comment. Yeah, and then you have Harmony saying Steve Young still splits the Niner fan base. I don't know if split's the right word anymore. I think there might be like 10% who will just go down with the ship. Anyways, really in the chat saying great handle, simple, to the point, unforgettable. Really? Saying Steve Kerr has bothered Kuminga's love of the game. That is true. Steve Kerr is just like has no idea. No concept. Did you folks, by the way, see the shot up close of the assistants? Tonight was the first time I saw Nicholas. Oh, I almost fell for that. Nicholas Kerr. He was in an engaged conversation with another assistant, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh wow, there's a first sighting of the chosen one. Who knows what he's saying? Kev F in the chat saying everyone knew what Monte was. Well, not everyone. I promise you that. Either that or everyone knew and they still preferred him over Steph. A lot of people did. This means a lot. JJ Lee in the chat saying that I'm an experienced vet in this this psychotic, toxic sports media world. Thank you for that. That means a lot. Let's hear from Steve Kerr after this game. Again, talking about first half turnovers and how most of them were the fault of the players themselves, which is crazy. Here's Kerr.
12 turnovers at halftime, and it didn't feel like they were forced. They just from the defense. And obviously, OKC's got a great defense and a great team, but felt like mostly decision making. And so we've got to make better decisions if we're going to be a good team, and I've got to do a better job of putting our guys in position to do so.
How alarming is this performance that
Well, I can feel we weren't in a great place, coming back from Indiana and Milwaukee. That you could just feel that things weren't quite clicking, and that I thought that continued. I mean, we got a couple of wins in there, but we're not playing well, and we haven't been playing well for really since the second week of the season. So it doesn't feel right what's happening right now on the floor, the way we're playing, the way we're approaching things. Guys are, they're trying. I mean, it's not like it's a lack of effort, but like we're not crashing. The old things we did at the end of last year when we got good, take care of the ball, crash, create good shots for each other, win the possession battle. We're not doing any of those things right now.
So on one hand, he says they're trying. On the other hand, he's saying they're not doing any of the little things. So a lot of nothing, a lot of mixed messaging. Pretty par for course for a Steve Kerr presser. Let's see if there's any other sound. I'll bring the audience on briefly. I don't have the energy for like 2 hours tonight. If do you folks want to come on? Are there people out there who want their voice heard? Here, I'll put the link in the chat for a second. This is one of those things where if it's more than, let's say, 3 people, I'm probably tapped. I'm just tired. Forgive me. I'm human. There's a link in the chat if you want to come on. And again, once we get past 3, I think we'll put a cap on there. So if you find yourself being the 4th in the pecking order in our green room, forgive me. My energy is limited. We have another show tomorrow night. Side note, Frank Red will be co-hosting with me tomorrow night. I'm excited to have him join us as I take a look to see if there's any other multimedia elements that have been published. Yeah, now I see 95.7. The game is starting to pick up on that Draymond Green quote. Yeah, so the socials are really picking up on that Draymond comment. And rightfully so. That was kind of crazy. And the reason why someone in the chat was saying Draymond like never loses the mental warfare. Well, he got baited there and he took it. And I don't know, maybe it was a good thing. I mean, we love his authenticity. Let's get Real Leezy on, and then we'll get Real Leezy, Bad Hombre, and Sachin. That'll be our show tonight. Ishan and Alan, please forgive me. Tomorrow we'll do the full gamut. But for tonight, I'm sorry. I only have so much in me. I don't want my voice to start cracking and all that stuff. My throat's hurting a little bit anyway. So Real Leezy, and then we'll hear from Jimmy Butler, who spoke to Joseph Dikis of the Mercury News, and the quote that Joseph Dikis highlighted. You know what, Leezy, sit tight for 1 second. Let me play this real quick, and then I'll bring you on, and then Ombre and Sachin, and that'll be your show tonight. Here is Jimmy Butler saying the quotes attached to this clip is everybody has to be honest with themselves. Let's hear from Jimmy Butler, and then we'll get a real Elise on the program. Again, this is courtesy of Joseph Dikis of Bay Area News Group, which includes the Mercury News. Here's Jimmy.
I think he's, partly correct. We just got to get back to doing whatever it takes to win. Everybody might have to sacrifice something. I can't tell you what that sacrifice might be for every individual. Maybe different for every individual every single night. It's got to get back to winning is the main thing and the only thing. It's going to be the collective of the group to figure out what is needed to win.
Jimmy, to your point, everybody might have a different reason on what they need to fix. What do you think the biggest collective problem is?
The fight, honestly. I just think that the fight's not always there. If we cannot make a shot, give us an out to not guard, whatever reason that may be. We got to fight no matter what. And, I think most of that fighting I'm talking about is on the defense end. Not getting stopped, man. Just not playing hard. Just not doing whatever it takes to win.
How do you get that fight back?
I don't know. I have to figure it out. That's what this road trip is for, though. Got a good group. Everybody has to be honest with themselves. Everybody has to be honest with everybody else. We don't figure it out. We all we got at the end of the day, and that's never going to change.
You're going to see more speed and length defensively, matchup-wise, the rest of this trip. What are the keys to countering?
I don't know. That's what they're feeling for. I don't think that offense is ever going to be a problem because speed. We have to get back. We have to, be in a gap. We have to guard somebody. Speed, length, all that stuff. He's good. Great nowadays in this league, but we get back to the guard. No matter how fast these individuals are, no matter how many people these teams are, we got.
What stands out with the turnovers right now, Jimmy?
Just not caring enough about every possession. Being lazy with the ball. Some of them are good turnovers, like overpassing the ball, looking for the open guy, and then some of them are just can't have it. But the people that have the ball a lot, they get a couple turnovers. Steph don't get those. Dre don't get those. Myself, I can't have turnovers. K can't have turnovers. Trace can't have turnovers. And nothing's, I tell that to them like I tell you. But we're the ones that have to keep our turnovers down.
Jimmy, this is your first
Great
time
lap.
seeing this playing against this generation.
Gonna get some of this.
They want to stay in the championship. They hold pressure, obviously.
They're good. They're good. That's why they won. They're together. They know what they're supposed to be doing. And that's why the record shows what the record shows. Young group together. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, so that was Jimmy Butler. He started it. Let me play the beginning one more time really quickly, and I'll get Elise on because it started with him addressing that Dre comment. I don't know if you picked up on that. We didn't hear the question, but it seemed pretty obvious that the answer was alluding to what Draymond referenced.
I think he's, partly correct. We just got to get back to doing whatever it takes to win. Everybody might have to sacrifice something. I can't tell you what that sacrifice might be for every individual. Maybe different for every individual every single night. It's got.
So, the gist I'm getting is whatever, Jimmy seems to feel, or rather, Jimmy seems to understand what Dre's saying. And he kind of gave a little insight right here. Hold on.
We just got to get back to doing whatever it takes to win. Everybody might have to sacrifice something. I can't tell you what that.
See, everybody has to sacrifice something. That's what I'm taking away from that, which correlates with Dre, and then it goes back to the box score. Who is not sacrificing? I will say this. Desi, shut the F up. I see you in the chat just immediately wanted to blame Kuminga. You're just such a biased, one-sided human being, man. It's disgusting. And side note, I could tell you this as a fact. Kuminga's agent is not aware of that quote. Something tells me if that was about his client, he'd already hear about it. Who knows? I will say this. What I don't, if the Jimmy Butler quote when he's talking about players making sacrifices, I keep bringing up these Brandon Podziemski assist stats and the fact that he never gets assists ever. Is that what he's referencing? Because that's the stat I'm looking at every game. Where are the assists? Where is the part of your game that makes everyone else better? There is a stat that reflects it. It's called assists. And I will also say this. If by some chance that was in reference to Kuminga, trade him. I wouldn't even play him anymore. Like it's over. Like if Draymond is calling Kuminga out publicly, Kuminga's relationship with the Warriors should end tonight. He should be just sent home. And when January 15th comes around, that's the first date you could trade him. You trade him. The experiment's done. If Draymond is calling out Kuminga, it's over. Sit him down. Don't even have him with the team anymore. This experiment is done. If he's talking about Podziemski, which would make more sense, especially with Jimmy Butler now adding the comments about the sacrificing, because that's the only stat I'm seeing here that represents a lack of sacrifice for your team. 1 assist. Side note, Ronald Paul in our chat. I hope you're not referencing me with the whole Nicholas Kerr thing. I never called him Nick in the last name. I don't know if you're referring to someone in the chat. Paid chat real quick, and then we'll get Elise on. I appreciate Elise for the patience. Maybe this is why, because this paid chat right here is saying Steve Kerr and Nicholas Kerr need to go. Warriors leadership is breaking the team. I'm trying to phrase this in a proper manner. The overload of sycophancy, is that a word? Sycophant nature needs to stop. Players and fans are losing their minds. They are. Yeah, that's true. Real Elise, I know you do a show after during every game. I apologize. Which I respect, because that means you have to pay attention. How are you doing? What was your immediate reaction to this game?
I'm good, man. You be cracking me up, so I ain't gonna lie, man. You the funniest dude in the world, bro.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot.
Salute to you, bro.
That's part of it.
I need that comedic.
Right? Go ahead, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't do the games because my commentary. If we're gonna just be out here looking like total ass, excuse my language, like I can't commentate and break that down. You know what I'm saying? So the games are not competitive. We look like a lottery team. We're so immature. We have the oldest team in the world, but it seems like we make the most bonehead plays offensively and defensively. And if I just heard Jimmy Butler reference turnovers, he said Draymond Green and Steph Curry they're gonna make those. No, I don't want Steph Curry and Draymond Green just giving up possessions. You do realize a game can be decided by one possession. Yeah. Steph Curry and Draymond Green have some of the most boneheaded turnovers ever, trying to force the ball to each other or throw a dumb behind the back pass. I'm like, dude, if that was Greg Popovich on the sideline, Steph Curry, you're getting yanked out of the game, and Popovich will scream and yell at you and call you all type of names.
Yes.
He's going to hold you accountable.
Just to indulge and entertain the audience, Stoney in her chat, it has a trade proposal, and I'm going to leave you to answer this. Trade Kuminga, Podziemski, and Buddy Hield for Zach LaVine of the Kings. Your thought?
Fuck no. What? Man, this shit is crazy. I'm watching the Sacramento Kings game right now. Zach LaVine is terrible.
I know. I hope they were they were trying to get a rise as well, because that was such a
we just care about offense now. This NBA is so shot. It's just hard to watch. Everything is about getting numbers. It's not about making winning plays. And if you want to talk about sacrificing some Jimmy Butler, when is the last time Jimmy Butler actually played good defense? Where's the all-NBA defensive Jimmy Butler? Instead of the free throw merchant Jimmy Butler, he passes down all his mid-range shots, and he just tries to draw contact and get to the free throw line, which he's not been shooting a high percentage from the free throw line lately. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't even make any sense. Like the person who sacrificed the most on this team is JK. Have anybody watched JK career from when he was a rookie up until now? He's regressed because he's trying to play a system. JK is a player who can play outside of a system, but now his confidence is shot because he doesn't know if I should pull up for this mid-range or try to find somebody cutting or an open shooter. It's like he's in between. Should I play basketball or should I just run the plays? You're going to always come out on the short end of the stick when you're second guessing yourself. If you're just supreme confident, like Pods is confident in doing dumb shit, but he's just not as skilled. If you gave Kuminga the confidence that Pods got, well, maybe we'll have a better season. But Pods is just out there. He doesn't even look like an NBA player. At this point, I'm taking Bronny James over Pods.
The only
time stretch.
The only time the eye test looks okay with Podziemski is when he's pushing the ball. Like when he's pushing the ball and the Warriors are trying to get a transition bucket, like he looks like an NBA player for like a brief moment. But the fact that that's
until
the only
he gets into the paint side and then he picks his dribble up and stops and then just turns and looks at everybody, doesn't even know what to do with the ball. Terrible. One
assist. Like that's a problem, man. And I don't understand why Steve Kerr just pretends that stat is not real time and time again. I don't understand why people like Desiree in our chat ignores that stat and pretends now, because God forbid, we talk about a stat that blemishes Kerr and Podziemski as Golden Boy. Assists matter. It's an important stat. Not getting them when you're a point guard, concerning, legitimately concerning. And that's why
we got to play Pat Spencer, bro. We got to put Pat Spencer in these. We got to give some of Pod's minutes to Pat Spencer and Will Richard.
I have a better idea than that. Instead of give those minutes to Guy Santos. Like Guy Santos needs to have a moment. Like, it isn't complicated. When you look at this roster, like the guys who have to play, besides the veterans, right? Like Draymond, Jimmy, and Steph, unless like they literally fold before our eyes and turn into grandpas a month from now, and I don't think it's going to be that drastic of a decline. And who knows if like maybe I'm overreacting. I'm not denying that could be a possibility too, because I love Steph. I love this man to death. And the last thing I want to do is sit here and face a reality that he's cooked. And I'm praying on everything that could be holy, that could be a greater power than us, that is not the case. But they're going to get their minutes. And besides them, I don't think it's complicated who has to play. Kuminga, Moody, Will Richard, who like with each passing game looks like the real effing deal, and Guy Santos. And when DeAnthony Melton comes back, you've got another ball handler there. If Seth Curry's ever signed, who knows what's going on that front. And I don't know how Stephen Curry can be cool with all this. I mean, I thought the goal here was not to offend the guy who, again, is supposedly calling on the shots, Stephen Curry. How are you getting away with treating his brother like this? But those are the guys who have to play. I don't think it's complicated, Elise. And you correct me if you don't think you agree with that. But again, Kuminga, Moody, Will Richard, and if you want to limit Guy Santos to 15 minutes, fine. But let's make those 15 not during garbage time. Make those during some minutes that actually count, because Guy Santos is the only guy out there hustling every possession and matching the speed and pace that is quickly becoming the modern evolved NBA. Why Guy Santos only sees garbage time when he was actually playing real minutes last year continues to befuddle me among a million things. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think Guy Santos should probably get some Buddy Hield's minutes, to be honest with you. So that can work. That can work. So
do you agree with my sentiment though? Like those are the players who like should be playing. Is there anyone I'm missing? Is there anyone you want to add to it?
Absolutely. And then I think Quinn Post is better than Al Horford for whatever reason. Quinn Post has more blocks than Al Horford this year. And Quinn Post can't jump over a quarter. Let's just be honest, bro. Like Quinn Post has really been given effort on the defensive end. Like he's become better on that end, but his athleticism and foot speed limits him and what he can really, the impact that he can have defensively. But it's not because of lack of effort. I will tell you that right now.
That's true.
And his jump shot has been more consistent than Al Horford.
Yeah.
Up until the last game for Al Horford in them 5 threes. But
in the chat of Fulladol is saying Guy is not getting guarded though, meaning he affects the spacing. Well, you know what? If he's not getting guarded, I would not mind seeing Guy Santos wide open 3-point shots. He's not a bad 3-point shooter. He's not a
Fact.
liability as a three-point shooter. So if that is true, great. Let him
Great.
rain wide open threes. I don't hate
I
that.
agree.
But
I got a go ahead. I'm sorry. I had a question for you.
No, ask your question. And see, real quick, actually, before Desi, this is why I really am up to my limit with you, because you're incredibly disrespectful. You don't respect any of my opinions or anything I say. You push back on every effing thing I say, and I don't know why. You don't back it up with anything valid. Like, for example, if you think Podziemski should play, what stat are you relying on? Or are you just relying on an eye test? Or are you going to like bust out true shooting for one game? Never mind the fact that Guy Santos last year was not playing against third stringers. There were games last year where he started, you dumbass mother effer. Like, you're really like up to this. Because Desi, you need college desperately. Because you reek of someone who has no critical thinking skills. You need to go to college and get some classes under your belt and touch some woman out there and socialize and learn like what is proper for social conversations, what's proper for knowing which people maybe you should listen to and which you shouldn't. Go to school, please, because you reek of ignorance, dude. Elise, go ahead, please.
Oh, shit. Okay, my question was going to be, before we were rudely interrupted by Desiree.
No, I'm the one interrupted. I let him like get into my head again. That's my fault, dude. Elise, go ahead, brother. I'll shut up.
What happened to Taron Armstrong from overseas and the guy Alex Tui? Or what's his name? Is it Tui or Tooney?
You got it right. Yeah, you got it right. Alex Tui is a G Leaguer right now. LJ Cryer, who again, I don't know what's going on in terms of getting him on the show. His agent, last we spoke a couple weeks ago, was like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you. It's looking good." And then I followed up, and I'm still waiting. And his agency, side note, is part of the same corporation that Stephen Curry's agency is a part of. So who knows? Maybe they're just busy. But
so those are three players that we should get in, right?
LJ Cryer has been playing real solid minutes for Santa Cruz. I think he scored 25 points the other night. And then Alex Tui is also there. Taron Armstrong, I don't know. I think he's just gone. You're right.
I never seen. He didn't even get in the game one time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna Google his name just to see what the internet's is telling me on Taron Armstrong. Well, we also don't know if he would even like produce. I mean, who knows if he's actually good? We haven't seen much from him. Taron Armstrong is listed, at least courtesy of ESPN. I mean, so take that for what it's worth, as a Golden State Warriors guard. So if anyone's paying attention to the Santa Cruz Warriors, maybe they can elaborate and tell us that he's there. But I don't know if Taron Armstrong, I mean, maybe he's good. I can't sit here and tell you with a straight face that I know.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, if we're experimenting with these lineups, let some of these young players see what they can do. They might be able to add some value. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know LJ Cryer can add value.
Absolutely
but Alex Tui, let Alex Tui get some minutes. That G League stuff they did that to Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole shouldn't have been in no G League. Like, he had to force his way into rotation minutes.
I heard, but the G League actually, like, Jordan Poole is a good case study for the G League helping a player. Like, Podziemski should be in the G League right now. Like, Podziemski should be in the G League right now, learning how to make his teammates better.
Full time.
Assists, right?
No
because he has not figured that
full
out.
Time.
He has not figured that out. Like, I'd rather have LJ Cryer right now than Brandon Podziemski.
Easy.
I would.
Easy.
Easy.
But we can say that. How the coaching staff and the player development and the staff don't realize that, though.
What's up?
But how they can't realize that? If we can realize that from here, how they can't realize it?
Because you've heard me use this word repeatedly, and I'll use it again. Steve Kerr is obtuse. He is a stubborn ass who has no concept of what you need to do to develop players. He is used to, and again, this is why Will Richard, a huge reason why he's fitting so nicely. Kerr loves these kids who had 3-4 years in college, so he doesn't have to teach them. So he doesn't have to do anything. He can just sit there and watch and pretend that he's a genius and get all the credit.
I'm glad you said that. Yep.
It's Kerr. Kerr does not know how to relate to young people, man. And his son is kind of awkward too, man. Sorry. Anyways, any final thoughts, Elise? I want to get Fire Kerr is now in our audience. Jump on next. It's a hell of a handle.
The final thoughts is, man, I'm really not too optimistic about tomorrow, but I know we do play the Spurs. Those are pretty tough games, but
Hell
I just
yeah.
want to see what kind of fight what kind of resilience, what kind of fight are we gonna come out with, and that's really gonna tell me a lot about later on in the season. Like if we come out with a lot of fight off a back-to-back where we didn't play well against the defended champs, and we go into a hostile situation, then I can be a little bit more optimistic. But if we don't come out with any fight at all, and that's from every level, from players to coaches, then I'm gonna be really, really concerned. So that's all I got, though. But appreciate you, Sai, for letting me on.
Appreciate you, really, Lisa. Have a great night. Desirio in our chat, when everybody is telling you that you are wrong, don't pretend you're the only smart person in the room, brother. You're in timeout because you're just a shit stain, dude. Like all you're doing is trolling. And again, a lack of self-awareness, another reason you need to go to school, brother. Like you also lack that. You're missing a lot of attributes that characteristics, if you will, that represent a common sense, intellectual human being. Go to school, please. And make sure you take that critical thinking class, which I hope is still a requirement as a lower division GE, because it changed my life. And I'm guessing a lot of other people who went to college changed their life too. It suddenly makes you realize what communication is, what reality is. Philosophy classes are awesome also. And it'll certainly help you with your social skills so that you're not pissing off an entire chat and pissing off the host in the process. Someone in the chat asked about the turnovers. We talked about that in detail at the beginning of the show. Side note, I'm still stumped that Trace Jackson Davis led the team in turnovers with 6. I don't remember any of those. And maybe they happened in the fourth quarter when I was not paying attention to the garbage time minutes because they're utterly inconsequential. But well, Craig Ross in our chat is saying critical thinking is not something you learn in a class. Bullshit. They actually, like, they're called, some colleges call them logic classes. Yes, you do. There are textbooks where by the end of it, you go from the very simplistic, if A equals B, B equals C, A equals C, then you expand on that into very in-depth critical thinking where you learn about red herrings and straw mans, and you start to learn what is not truthful. And side note, if you ever go to law school, like, you become an expert in critical thinking, because that's all they teach you is how to discern what is realistic, what is truthful, what is not. So, Craig, you should go to school too, because clearly you have not. If you don't think that critical thinking is something that can be learned in a class, it absolutely can be. That's a pretty wild statement, man. Fire Kerr, are you ready? I see like a thumb or a hand or something. Okay, are we bringing him on? You're on the show. How are you doing? It's very dark. You might be lurking somewhere.
Yeah, I'm coming back to the
you
light.
might be stalking someone. We have no idea what's going on here, but you're on the show, brother. How you doing?
What's up, Si?
Oh, we see
Man,
you.
I'm gonna keep screaming it from the rooftops, man. We got to get rid of Kerr, and I really think Draymond time is up. We need to trade Draymond, Pods, Buddy, get rid of these guards. We need some wings and some size. Draymond was a great.
I want to appreciate real quick in the chat, people like Penny Tomlinson, who's been really cool, but you're trashing education. Look, at a bare minimum, I'm not going to sit here and sorry to interrupt you real quick, and then I'll
good.
shut up. Just real quickly, it isn't just what you're getting in a classroom where the value of college comes from. And side note, maybe the college thing is just dead, and that also seems to be what you're insinuating, because no one can afford housing, and that used to be a very important part of the college experience. You move to a college town, you rent a spot either with or you start in the dorms. You live with a stranger, and you figure out on the fly how to deal with a stranger, develop a relationship with this person, like the social aspect of it, all the networking you're doing. Some of these relationships become lifelong friends. Some of them are just acquaintances, but you stay in touch. At a bare minimum, the value comes from the social aspect. I agree with you with the classroom thing. It depends on the classes and the field of study. But unless housing has completely destroyed the college experience, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did, I will push back a little bit on higher education being trashed. If you notice the world being less civilized, there is a direct correlation with less people going to school. But again, it doesn't mean that college is for everyone. Go to a trade school, do something. Just get out there and educate yourself. And I'm going to shut up now. Go ahead, brother. Floor is yours.
It's all good. I definitely feel like they should bring Cryer up. I ain't really seen Tui play, but we know Cryer is better than Pods. And Kerr tried to send Will to the G League, but that's when Steph got sick, so we had to keep him on the Warriors. So Kerr is studying everybody growth. It don't look like a Stackhouse defense. It seems like the assistant coaches don't have no say-so. It's just Kerr doing the same thing over and over and over. I'm like the lineups he be doing, the rotations he be doing is just crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. It's nonsensical, man. It's been like this forever. I'm trying to find LJ Cryer's stats in Santa Cruz, and it's kind of crazy that like I'm 3 pages into Google and I have to add the word Santa Cruz just to get his G League stats. Because I want to know like what he's doing there. Here we go. I found him finally. So LJ Cryer, dude, get this.
I just seen it on Twitter.
You just saw it on Twitter?
Yeah, it was like 25, 20-something, 20-something, 20-something.
Well, here are the traditional splits out of Santa Cruz. Again, this is courtesy of the G League's official website. He's played 3 games, averaging 33.8 minutes per game. And I'm guessing that's largely because Nicholas Kerr isn't running the show. It's a new coach who actually understands you got to give people a lot of minutes for them to develop. He's averaging 24 points a game. He's averaging, and that includes 5 made threes a game. He's shooting 39.5% from deep. Even his free throws are falling at a good clip. He's 85.7% from the free throw line. I'm trying to find his assist number just to see how he's facilitating. 4.7 assists is a hell of a lot better than Pajemski's like 2.5 or whatever number it's dropped to in that front. Dude, LJ Cryer's playing like real ball. He's producing. I want to get him on the show, man. I'm going to start pestering his agent. Dude, so yeah.
Will Richards came with a 30-point game. Pods ain't even hit 30 yet. And then Kerr bring him in the second quarter, 6 minutes to go. Like, the stuff Kerr do just never makes sense. Like, this shit, it killed me every time, man. They really trying to waste that.
What'd you think about Nico Mannion on the topic of firing people? He was the sacrificial lamb for the Mavericks, even though the owner was the owner behind
for real. You know they trying to get to Vegas. You know what that's about. Sacrificial lamb for sure.
Nico Mannion, by the way, who I'm not trying to defend here. This is an example for those of you who think that the gatekeepers in NBA, meaning like front offices and the executives and all that, just a little pushback because there's this like general consensus of thinking that, oh, these gatekeepers must know what they're doing. Dude, Nico Mannion became an agent. I can't remember if he was Nike first and an executive there and then an agent and then a front office guy with the Mavericks. But as an executive with Nike, he is directly responsible for them losing Steph Curry. He is the reason
Steph is not considered the greatest player ever because Nike has so much money and they pay to put Steph. Steph got a flagrant and they do that to Steph all the time. He got the worst whistle in the league history. And it's because of Nike. I really feel like it's because of Nike. And Nico is the reason because he didn't know how to say his name. Steph would have Nike back in.
I'm sorry. I kept saying Nico Mannion. That's a former second round.
Yeah, I'm like, when you first said it, I'm like Nico Mannion, that's the white boy. But he the reason Steph get treated the way he do because he messed the deal up with Nike.
But can I give you
that's another thing I wanted to speak on. Kerr never speaks up for the foul calls. Kuminga got all them turnovers because there was foul calls that wasn't called. And he never speak up for his players. He said this a little bit back in the day, but we need to be like Rick Carlisle. He talked for his players. He speak up on the refs.
By the way, what are your thoughts on this? If the actual Nico Mannion, if you swapped him with Pajemski, I don't think the Warriors miss a beat. Your thoughts?
They look like twins. Shit, I wouldn't even know them apart. That curly hair, man.
That Sideshow Bob action, dude.
For sure. Besides, keep doing your thing. I got to get up out of here, man.
Right, brother. Get out. Yeah, exactly. Have a great night. Dude, you're on fire. Wait. You're on fire. Come back, all right? I like your energy.
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Where are you at? Are you in the
definitely. Yep, I'm on Antioch right now. Nice. You follow me? I'm the one that got the fire Kerr sign with the light skinned dude from 95.7.
And they hate
Cam.
Dude.
Yeah, man.
Did he try to bully you too?
Huh?
Did he try to bully you too?
Definitely. They kept moving the camera every time I tried to get that fire Kerr sign on there. As soon as I get enough money, I'm gonna sit behind Kerr, and they gonna hear me. Trust me.
No, don't go away yet. For people who don't know, this individual right here, you don't have to give your real name if you don't want to, but if you do, you can too. Was literally on television behind, like, was it a pregame or postgame? What was the setting?
It was a pregame.
It was a And was Bonte the one with the mic?
Yeah, Bonte. He came
So
out
the
and hollered
big
at me because I
OC
used to call
bully, Bonte
95.7 the game like damn near every day. They even banned me because I called Kerr a terrorist. They was like, oh, no, you can't. I didn't know about his dad, though, so I guess that was out of pocket. But
What about his dad? What do you mean?
I thought something
Steve
happened with his
Kerr's
dad.
dad. You
Like,
mean
he,
actually getting shot in the head? Yeah, that's yeah, that's unfortunate. But regardless, and I don't think. And again, you just admitted you didn't even know that there was no ill intent there, but you got on TV, and that's just a perfect example of how much this media scene here just bows to Kerr. Like they think he's like royalty, dude. That's how they treat him. It is insane. He's a coach.
and I got a beef with the fans because they say, oh, he's not going to go nowhere. I promise you, if 1,000 fans went in the arena with paper bags on their face, like the Browns used to do, the media going to start talking about it. Kerr needs to be on the hot seat. He's not getting an extension after this year.
And again, and speaking to the fans, Nico Harris, he lost his job because of the fans. The fans were making so much noise in that arena, and it capitulated with some fan wearing a Luka Doncic jersey sitting next to the owner, having a long conversation with him. You had home players like PJ Washington as he's shooting free throws in his home arena. The fans are like, you're not supposed to make noise when the home players are shooting free throws. Like, it's supposed to be quiet. They're yelling while PJ Washington is shooting free throws. Fire Nico. That's how bad it got. And it's also perfect evidence of why you have a huge sect of this fan base that's just brainwashed, man. Like, because if all the fans really wanted Kerr gone, you would hear boos at Chase Center. Instead, though, they want their picture taken with him. They think he's some genius. And if the fans could actually have power, that's what I'm trying to say.
For sure,
because Nico's gone entirely because of that.
Have you seen the picture of AD?
Which one?
He was kind of chubby. Because we had an argument on Spaces earlier. Who would you rather have right now, Draymond or AD?
AD, easy.
He's talking about Draymond. I said, get Draymond off my team right now.
Yeah,
Bring
is that
AD in
a debate? Is that a debate? Like, who's saying keep Draymond over?
That was crazy.
Who's saying keep Draymond over?
It was more than a few people in the Spaces talking about that.
Oh my god! It's just
Draymond needs to go. He did what he had. He did what he had to do, but he's just a cone. And I think Jimmy was talking to Draymond because Draymond hold the ball at the top of the key. He wants the ball back because he don't like to stand in the corner no more. And that's on Kerr. When Luke Walton was coaching, Draymond was shooting. He was hitting. As soon as Kerr came back, Draymond lost all his confidence.
You're awesome, dude. Have a great night.
But
man.
all right, man. I'll holler at you, man. Have a good one.
I hope to see you again soon. And again, like just that is awesome. He was literally on TV, and Bonte Hill, that oafish bully, he tries to, man. That's why you got to stand up against the bullies of this world who think that just by intimidating you, they're going to get their way. All it takes is one good uppercut to the chin, and you could silence those oafs up. But nonetheless, in this case, the Fire Kerr guy standing up to the whole media scene, he was just holding this sign that said Fire Kerr, and he's banned. That's how pathetic this media scene is. They won't let the fans even have free speech. It's embarrassing. Sachin's going to wrap it up. Sachin, how are you doing tonight? What's on your mind?
What's up, sir? How you doing?
All right. How are you, Sachin?
I'm all right, bro.
What's up?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I mean, this team, like, when I'm just watching this team first, like, 12 games of the season, apart from, like, the first game when I was actually excited, like, I don't enjoy watching them. I think that's, like, the most concerning part for me, because, like, if we were 500 right now, and at least the games were, like, competitive, at least now I have some hope that, okay, maybe we can figure this out down the stretch of the season. But, like, it's just not even fun watching this team. The offense is just hard to watch. Like, we're like a one-trick pony. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, the system is revolve around Steph passing the ball. And if he's missing shots, then, like, we're just going to get blown out night in and night out. We got no counter if things are, not going our way. And I just feel dumb for thinking this team could win, like, 50-plus games to start the season. Like, all right, we have a chance to, like, be a 4 seed or something, and like it's already done. Like for me, like if we make the play-in, like I'd be shocked.
So Sachin, do you have any ideas for how the team can improve?
I mean, for me, what we have to get rid of, especially with the younger players, right, is yes, the motion offense worked and playing small ball worked at one point, but the whole point of playing small ball is to have an offensive advantage. But we
Mm-hmm.
don't have that. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have that anymore. Like we don't have a creator. Like if we're playing pods and buddy together, like it's just not gonna work. Both those guys can't create. And it's just defensively, if we're playing small, it's just really tough. Like just watching this team, and like it's the game has just changed. Like that's all I can say, and
Big
we're
time.
just failing to realize that the game has changed. Like this
And
offseason,
And never forget that all these quote unquote small ball lineups that worked for the Warriors had the best shooting ever. Like the Warriors had Steph and Clay as a backcourt. Never mind the fact that Klay Thompson was 6'7", so he was a two-way player. He could lock people down defensively, and he was the second best shooter on the planet next to Steph offensively. He also had Steph, who is the greatest shooter of all time. That like when you have that, yeah, I think you can make small ball work. And keep in mind as well that small ball with a 6'7" Clay, not that small, also included a 6'7", and if you want to, be very specific, 6'6" without shoes, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, 6'6". Like that's 4/5 of your lineup right there. And you have a combination of the most lethal shooters ever and two of the greatest defensive players ever. All four of them can handle the ball. It was lethal. And whoever the fifth guy was, I mean, Jesus Christ, for 3 years, the fifth guy was Kevin Durant. That's a small ball lineup. And Steve Kerr is still trying to pull the same shit with current rosters where you have Pajemski getting 30 minutes a night. Pajemski can't get assists. His shot is inconsistent. He rarely gets to the free throw line. When he does, he's literally, factual statement, second worst on the team in free throw shooting. Career-wise, factual statement, Pajemski shoots below 70% for his career from the free throw line. He's literally like a 69.7, 69.8% free throw shooter. Yet Kerr values that now. We went from Steve Kerr valuing Clay, Iguodala, Kevin Durant, and if you want to look at the fourth championship, you still had Otto Porter Jr., who's 6'8". That's not very small. You had Nemanja Bjelica getting good minutes, 6'8". That's not very small. Juan Toscano Anderson that season was getting a lot of minutes, in case people forgot. He's not that small. He's 6'6", but he was like a Swiss Army knife. Could defend anything. Offensively was not necessarily a liability. You had Steph's brother-in-law, Damian Lee, getting a chunk of minutes that season. For people who forget, he was still 6'5". He was kind of like what Will Richard is now. But you have Steve Kerr who goes, well, Pajemski can handle the ball. And it's insanity, dude, that Steve Kerr still thinks you can run the same bullshit out there when you're right. The game has changed. And more importantly, your personnel is not set up to like Jimmy Butler is not someone that you can run the same offense with, man. It just doesn't fly. But you don't see adaptability from Steve Kerr. And this is where, again, especially with the game's pace improving to where it is now, if you're not playing your young guns out there, if you're not playing your best players, both talent-wise and athletic-wise, you're going to lose more times than not. And I don't understand the Brandon Pajemski minutes. I will never understand them, and it doesn't translate to success. The Warriors have never won a title with this guy. I do feel as a fan a more affinity for Kuminga and Moody because they were part of a title run. So they have a ring. So they've already shown that they're not going to be impediments to that goal. But again, you have certain people who just refuse to admit that Steve Kerr is grossly overrated. And they think that, spacing is like the end all be all of everything. It's a part of it. It helps. But penetrators, athleticism, the moment you have someone who can actually attack the rim, you're going to get that defense collapsing and you're still going to get the space you need. It's not the same way as having Steph and Clay and Durant, but it's a different way of still getting space. And good news is with the exercise and athleticism, you're also making up in the rebounding department and the shot blocking department. But that's not how Steve Kerr works, man. And it sucks.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when we do play all the guards together, like 3-guard lineups or whatever, like we can't guard to save our lives, and you just end up overhelping, leaving shooters like AJ Mitchell, whoever he was, or like they had a bunch of shooters. Casey Wallace, it would just be open in the corners. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
these guys are great shooters. You just can't leave them open, especially from the corner.
And here's another thing. It's not just that these guys are open largely because your defense it oftentimes is unathletic, but when you're short, dude, like these players have been asked this and they've answered it very clearly. Like, is it easier to shoot against smaller teams? Yes. like it's not a well, maybe to yes. It's a universal answer, man. And for anyone who's played basketball themselves, like let's say you're 6 feet tall. If you're playing against someone who's 5'10", and then you play against someone who's let's say 6'2", you're gonna notice a drastic difference in terms of how much more difficult it is playing against the 6'2" guy versus the 5'10" guy. That's basketball. These inches matter, size matters, but not to this head coach. It's utterly insane.
Yeah, I mean, like.
By the way, did you hear? I don't know if you heard this. The Sacramento Kings. There are multiple reports coming out that they're about to go full blown rebuild, and we're gonna have another I-80 crossover soon. If the Warriors get to a point where the aspirations of a championship are cooked, at least with this current roster, we'll have a trade show soon. A huge part of the problem is I already tried exploring some trades. Like, for example, one trade I immediately explored was, can the Warriors trade with the Mavericks and explore a package where maybe they bring Clay back and Anthony Davis, right? Total, I mean, look, it's probably a pipe dream, but I just wanted to explore it. Or at a bare minimum, can you just bring Clay back for like Pajemski and a few other scrap pieces and match the salaries? And I faced a very harsh reality, Sachin, and this goes for everyone else as well, that this current CBA has locked a lot of teams out there, the Dallas Mavericks included, into this really ugly position where you have to match salaries, I think, like to the penny, which is impossible in order to make a trade work. So the Mavericks can't make trades. To the best of my knowledge, the Lakers can't make trades. The Warriors themselves are in a position. I don't think they're as bad as the Mavericks, but the Warriors are hard capped to the second apron, and that plays a huge part in them being limited in making trades. My point is that on top of the fact that the Warriors right now are they're currently find themselves in a very precarious position because we don't know what the veterans, what their status is. Are they aging right before our eyes? Am I prematurely hitting a panic button? Like maybe the sirens, should go away. Like scram, please. We don't need you right now. But I hope that's the case. But let's say the veterans are cooked, right? And okay, so it's time to make some trades. Uh-oh. What the F is going on here? You can't make a trade with anybody. Like, open the trade machine. Any fan out there who's watching right now, open up ESPN's trade machine, open up Real GMs. There's a few of them out there. And try to make some trades with your Warriors and see those annoying messages that come back explaining why there's a million restrictions and there's a red X preventing you from making that trade because of the current CBA, which it has to be revised. This CBA is a joke. And the Warriors might be stuck this season with the players that they have because you can't make trades. It's really like asinine what this current situation is. And if that's the situation, and if that's the reality that the Warriors see themselves in, you better at least play your youngsters so we have something to look forward to, and so you can properly evaluate who you're going to keep and who you're going to move on from after the season, man. It's crazy. This whole thing is absolutely insane in terms of the options the Warriors have if this thing starts stinking. Like buyout players might be an option, but even then you'd have to waive someone else. There could be a market there. Who knows? But trades are limited, dude. It's very depressing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the team we just played, like the way they're building their roster, I think that's a prime example of how you should build a roster in today's CBA. I mean, like with the draft picks that they hit, the amount of draft picks that they have, they're able to get production from like rookie scale contracts, and then they just build out their roster from there.
Yeah.
So I mean, the way they're doing is very smart, for sure, especially today's NBA. And then as for us, like, yeah, I mean, improving the roster is going to be very difficult. Like in the middle of the season, I don't even know what trades you could do. I mean, I guess the Mavericks, they're going to probably trade a lot of their players. Maybe you can find something there.
But I just explained to you, Satch, and the Mavericks are stuck. They can't make trades. Like they've they exercise these weird restrictions because of their salary cap situation. So the only way, as far as I can tell, that the Mavericks can make any trade with anyone is the salaries have to match like to the penny. I don't know how you do that. It's a really messed up situation. And the Mavericks are finding themselves in this position. Again, the Lakers, I don't know if Miami's in this position. I don't think like teams like the Wizards are. But we'll save that for a future show. Maybe I need to bring Eric Pincus back on just to figure out like if like who the Warriors could even make a trade with, so we can at least explore, the realistic options. But it's very depressing if this thing, if the reality of the situation is the veterans are aging before our eyes, this can get very dark very fast. And to me, the only way you get out of this darkness and make the product entertaining, so we're actually interested in watching them. I'm watching no matter what. This is my job. But I mean, for the fans in general, they're not going to watch a product that sucks. Like if it's boring and dull, like people are going to tune out, man. And Jesus, yeah, it's anyways. Pause. Satchit, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, one last point. Like our big three, they're making a lot of money, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much of the cap they're taking up, but I mean, Jimmy's making like 50+ million, Steph's making 60+ million, Draymond's making, I don't know, like 25, 30, something like that per year. So, I mean, these guys, I know they're old, but, and a lot of people, like, they're blaming the young guys. I mean, I don't quite get that because it's like, yeah, the veterans are super old, but there's a reason why they're paid so high. They need to produce every night. And, yeah, that's all I got, man. The construction of the rosters is looking pretty rough at the moment.
Yeah, Mike Dunleavy Jr. I have no idea what he's thinking right now but again, I've repeated this for good reason. Dunleavy has committed nothing beyond this year. He's not looking at this as the Warriors have a 2-year window. He's looking at this on a year-by-year basis, which is a relief because imagine if like they just committed to this for 2 years. Like who would be watching that, dude? Like the Warriors as a play-in, like Steph suddenly like putting up like 10, 15 a night. Like no one wants to see that, dude. Yeah, it is crazy. This whole thing is crazy. Sachin, have a great night, brother. Thank you for coming in, and we're gonna wrap it up there. Real quick scoreboard. Shardal, I saw you at the very end there, but I'm exhausted, dude. I need to just make this short and sweet. Elsewhere in the association, we need some tunes for this, huh? Let me get that. No, not you. Shut up. Yeah, the sirens are legit. I'm missing music. All right. Elsewhere in the association for I was going to say Monday, but it's actually Tuesday, right? Tuesday, November 11th. 8 p.m. start because of Peacock. And that was the Sacramento Kings, I believe. But we'll go around the scoreboard, see what else is going on. In fact, that Kings game right now, the Kings are hosting the Denver Nuggets and trail 60-56. Most likely, the version you are watching will have a final score by that point. But the Kings keeping it a close game at the half. It's at the half, 60-56. Denver currently 7-2 on the year. The Kings 3-7 at Golden 1. And again, Mark Haynes and I in the next I-80 crossover will have a fun discussion about trades, and I'll do some more research in terms of like what teams out there actually have flexibility to make trades. I saw someone in the chat say, how do the Lakers keep making moves? I don't know if they can make any more. I think the Lakers right now are one of those teams stuck because of these insanely annoying rules that are unnecessary and designed to protect the owners. But we'll explore that because reports coming out of Sacramento are that they're going to blow that thing up. And I actually asked Mark tonight earlier if those rumors are true, and he said, yep. So I'm going to trust him when it comes to Kings behind-the-scenes information. The Toronto Raptors, 119-109 winners tonight. They took care of the Brooklyn Nets. Be relieved, Dub Nation, that your team is not the Brooklyn Nets. That is a shit show. The Nets dropped to 1-10 with the loss at home. The Raptors improved to 6-5. God damn it. So they have a better record than the Warriors right now. Emmanuel Quickly, 24 points, 8 rebounds. Nick Claxton, 21 points, 8 rebounds in the loss. The New York Knicks won at Madison Square Garden tonight, 133-120. Jalen Brunson, 32 points, 10 assists in the win. The Grizzlies were led by Salty Aldama, 19.7 rebounds. In case you're wondering, how did John Morant do? He played 34 minutes, scored 16 points, did dish out 10 assists. But that's a very tentative situation. I feel like Memphis would be a team that you can make some deals with. They have like their roster is deep, and you could pluck a big or two, a wing or two. But again, I'll do my research some more in terms of like what teams can make trades, because I don't think the Warriors are in as bad of a spot as the Mavericks are in terms of these restrictions. I think they can still make some moves, but I don't know with who. It's almost like on a team by team basis. Penny, have a great night. And again, I didn't mean, Penny, to pick on you with that earlier comment you made. I hope you understood what I was trying to say. You might be right, given that nowadays it's nearly impossible for kids, unless you're just absolutely wealthy, to have the college experience, to go out there and figure yourself out, your own identity, and at the same time make these lifelong friendships and figure out where you fit in this world. Talking about fitting in. So we shall see in that front. Anyways, okay, good. Thank you, Penny. Moving on. But yeah, the housing thing is a mess. That's a crisis that started bringing up politics so much, but hope that's not too much of a political thing. Our governments have to do something about that. Two more games on the night. The Philadelphia 76ers 102-100 winners tonight over the Boston Celtics. This game played in Philly, who improves to 7-4. The Celtics dropped to 5-7. So I'm making faces because my score table indicating to me that a player named Justin Edwards was the best player for Philly. Who the hell is Justin Edwards? So Justin Edwards is a 6'7" wing. He's a rookie. Okay, so that makes a little more sense. So he was an undrafted rookie who tonight put up off the bench 22 points on 5 of 6 shooting from deep in 27 minutes. So Philly is and again, Philly is a good example of what the Warriors should be doing, because Philly finds themselves in a situation very similar to the Warriors in the sense that their veterans are no longer individuals that you can rely on, and I'm not jumping to that conclusion, but it's looking more and more likely that this is a scenario the Warriors may be finding themselves in. But what Philly did was start transitioning, right? Tyrese Maxey emerging as a potential superstar. These players need minutes, side note, to emerge and reach their talent. But it's not just Tyrese Maxey. It's VJ Edgecombe, the rookie, and you know, the Warriors, the closest thing to that they have is probably Kuminga, who has more experience, but they're probably damn close in age. VJ Edgecombe is 20 years old, Kuminga 23, so it's a 3-year difference. But they have other players like Jared McCain. Tonight they played this Justin Edwards guy who came out of nowhere. That to me is like the positive outlook for your Warriors, that the veterans are cooked. They have a lot of young pieces that are fun to watch, interesting to see where they develop. They might even win enough games for you where you can stay relevant this season. I mean, the Warriors also own their own pick, so maybe tanking for an incredible draft pick is the way to go. But that's the strategy to me, and I feel like that should have been the strategy for a while now. But and then who knows if Steve Kerr would embrace that. And last but not least, the Utah Jazz, god damn, putting up 152 points tonight in a home win over the Indiana Pacers. So the Warriors just beat a couple nights ago, 152-128 the final. Lauri Markkanen, 35 points in the win. Pascal Siakam, who was not available in that Warriors game, 27 points for the Pacers in the loss. Indiana drops to 1-10 on the year. We all know who that one win was against. The Utah Jazz improved to 4-7, and I'm curious to see what the youngsters did for Utah. More specifically, Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey had 20 points tonight. Keontae George had 10. Miliacek had is that how you say his name? Had 20 points. That's another team whose youngsters, Kyle Filipowski, 16 points. That's another example. Like, it's time to the Warriors are long overdue in terms of putting faith in the youngsters. Let them write out the mistakes I'm damn curious who Draymond Green was referencing at the very beginning of tonight's show in that soundbite, and I'm sure that you're going to see that analyzed all over the place. And you know what I said before, and I'll say it again. If in fact he was referencing Kuminga, I mean, I doubt it, just because Dre has taken him under his wing as a mentor-mentee relationship. Jimmy Butler is very close with Kuminga as well, and so between Dre calling out at least a player who's not buying in, Jimmy Butler adding there's at least one guy who's not making sacrifices, I am fascinated to know who that is. Like the math would indicate Brandon Pajemski, but who knows? I have no clue who he was referencing. But if it's Kuminga, I feel like that relationship is over. Like you immediately sit him down and prep for a January 15th trade. Done. It's time to move on from Kuminga. If Draymond was referencing him, if it's Pajemski, send his ass to Santa Cruz. Let him learn how to actually be a good player if the talent is there. Maybe the talent's there, but the athleticism is not. That's also a scenario that's very realistic in the NBA. But nonetheless, Desi is saying you got to bring up Kuminga's trade value. Doesn't matter. It's over. Like if Kuminga is who they were talking about there, and Kuminga's aware of it, meaning like if the message, and again, I don't think Kuminga was the one that he was talking about for the reasons I mentioned a moment ago. The relationships primarily with Draymond, with Jimmy Butler. Even Steph loves him. Like Steph and Jimmy were on the phone. I didn't realize until recently. Steph and Kuminga. Like they talk on the phone a lot, and they have a good relationship. So the veterans have no problem with Kuminga, unless they do. Which and again, I just, if that's true, I don't see how you even keep playing Kuminga right now. And here's the reason why, Desi, the chief reason why you don't play him anymore. Because if he gets injured and he's on the way out, no matter what, you just destroyed his trade value. Right? You shut him down now. Other teams want him. He is a very tradable asset at this point. And if that's true, again, if two of the team's biggest names are calling him out, you trade him. If it's Pajemski, I'd try to trade him, but I don't know if anybody would be interested. We shall see. But we're back tomorrow night. Frank Red's going to join me. Shardal, if you're out there, I'll try to bring you on tomorrow night. Try to jump on a little bit earlier if you can, so I see ya. But my throat is killing me tonight, so I want to go to bed. That was an ugly game, and I hope you all are doing well as well. Another show tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. We're done. Bye-bye.